Hello, everyone. This is Orlando from A Collector's Dream. And, there's been a lot of talk about vintage football at the Strongsville show. A few people picked up some vintage football. And I was able to meet up with Dan. And I showed part of his collection, his pre-war collection of vintage football, where he has all the main cards, the first card ever made, which is the Beecher. Plus, he also has the entire 1894 Mayo Cup plug, except one card, which is the anonymous card, and which is the rarest card and the toughest card in the in pre-war football. And I'm going to share that one in a minute. But really, what got me to do this video was that I was watching Ryan Nolan at Breakout Cards, and he does the recap of all of the auctions, and really a great series he's doing, and definitely you guys should go watch that. But in the series, he was showing and he was talking with his buddy there, who's a knowledgeable football collector, and but he really isn't as knowledgeable about the pre-war, like the Beecher and the anonymous, because when Ryan asked him about the top 5 pre-war football, the most important pre-war football cards, he really wasn't thinking about even putting the anonymous in the top 5, which is like ridiculous. So, because if you know, you know. I mean, that's all I got to say about the anonymous card. If you know, you know. And this is the card. This is the card that even Dan doesn't have. In the PSA registry, there's less than 10 that are known to exist. And this particular card is on the PSA registry, but it's not in PSA anymore. So there's even less than there is in the PSA registry. And the thing with these cards is that when you get cards that are very rare, you know them all. I mean, I virtually know every single one of these anonymous. I think most of the ones that exist, I think there's 8 or 9 in total. Some may have, like mine, switched PSA, SGC, but it's the same card. It's counted double. But for the most part, you know the cards because there's so few of them that whenever they come up for sale, you know. If you know, you know. So this particular card, the last time it came up for sale was almost 10 years ago. And there hasn't been another anonymous card for sale, I think, since then. This one, I bought it from the guy who bought it back about that time. And he crossed it over, and even then you could see it's still an old flip. It's an old flip, but this card wasn't an old PSA flip. And this particular card is the 1894 Mayo Cup plug anonymous. And Ryan showed this card on his video, and I commented that I had the card, so I figured, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and show it, give everybody a good look at this card. Because you're not going to see this card. Probably never going to see this at a show, at a national, or any place like that. These cards are now in people's collection. And the reason I knew this was my card, because mine is the only one that's been, like the 71 Topps cards, with the black border. Someone tried to color that in, so that's why it's an authentic card. But from all of the cards that are out there in circulation for the Dunlop card, this one here is probably, or as far as I know, it is the one in the best condition. Even though it's got a huge crease here and it's been colored, the borders are great. It hasn't been trimmed. The back is awesome, just like it came out, black, just like it is in all the Mayo cards. That's my sweat there. And it does have a crease, but you just don't see them like this. And I showed Dan. Dan is the guy that I met at Strongsville who has the best collection of football, especially mostly pre-war football. And this is the card he wanted my Beecher, which I did sell him my other Beecher card. So this is my other Beecher, and it's a 5. That's why I didn't sell it. It's the one on my registry. And the other one was better because this one has some surface issues here, as you can see, where my other one did not. But I'm glad Dan has that card. He's going to enjoy it. And this one is a complete card. You see the back is beautiful, nice and clean, and it's just one of the better cards. I don't know how many are graded any higher than a 5, but I don't think there's just a handful that are graded higher than this grade for the Beecher. And the Beecher, you know, going back to my previous videos that I've talked about, the Beecher was the very first football card ever made. And you could take a good look at that and see that football. And Beecher is the captain of the Yale football team. So you can see that on that. So this was the first football card made. And then the first football card set was the Anonymous. Were the 1894 Mayo Cup plug. But this Anonymous card, when they started printing the set, they noticed that the name was missing. So they pulled it off the press. And they didn't distribute very many of these cards compared to the other ones. All the other ones have the name. And I should have shown you another one that has the name, but I've shown them before. And you can go back and look at Dan's video. He'll show you every one of these Mayo Cup plug cards, the entire set. There's, I think, 40 cards to the set. And this is the one he's missing. And this is the one that is considered to be the Hannes Wagner of football cards. Because John Dunlop was a big player. He was a good player back in the day. He also, after he played, he also was a coach. So Dunlop was one of the well-known guys. And this card, really nobody knew who Dunlop was until sometime in the 80s that somebody researched it and finally determined that this guy right here, John Dunlop, that this guy, the Anonymous, was John Dunlop. One of the most popular players back in the day, one of the best players back in the day. But because they forgot to put his name on the card, they pulled it off the press. And that's the story of the John Dunlop card. It was very limited distribution. And similar to the Hannes Wagner, you know, even though there's over 50 Hannes Wagner cards in existence, there's less than 10 of the John Dunlop cards from the Mayo Anonymous, from the Mayo Cup plug set. So it's called the Anonymous card because it doesn't have the name, but we all know now that it is John Dunlop from Harvard, from the best team, one of the best players. That is, to me, that has to be one of the top 5, if not the top 5, pre-war football cards. Along with the Beecher, I think these two are definitely part of the top 5. And, you know, along with the Bronco Nagurski, also should be included in that. The Bronco Nagurski card. The Nuke Rockney card also should be included in that. And that's kind of, you know, Ryan was talking about that with his buddy. And Ryan agreed with me that the Beecher and the Anonymous need to be the top 5 pre-war cards. And just wanted to share those two, give you guys a good look at those if you hadn't seen it. My very first video was my best video ever. And if you want to go back and look at it, it's about these 2 cards in particular. So I wanted to share that. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is I want to just thank the people that were at Strongsville, my friends that were there, had an awesome time. I want to thank Chris from Missouri, you know, for really putting it together and encouraging everybody to go there. And he was giving out his Chris from Missouri caps out there, which are awesome. And I'm just glad to have one of those. And my other buddy that I met over there is came all the way from Canada, and just was glad to see him there. And we spent a lot of time together. And he's a big supporter, big commenter, and that's Stephen Beal, Stephen with a PH. He's an Orioles fan like me. I'm an Orioles fan. He's a Ripken fan, as you can see, because he's Rip fan 8. So I want to thank him. He had a few of these made, and he was gracious enough to bring me one of these, and I really enjoyed the time with him. And I want to congratulate him because he picked up the best 49 leaf Jackie Robinson at Strongsville. And his is beautifully scented, and everyone that saw it knows that that Stephen picked up the best Jackie Robinson 49 leaf. I was looking for one, and so was he, and he picked up the best one. But I do also want to thank my roommate over there at the Strongsville show, and that's Rick, Rocket Rick J. And Rick gave me this card, and I want to thank Rick for that. Not only everything that he did for me, picking me up at the airport, taking me back to the airport. You know, I mean, he had to get up at 3 in the morning to take me to the airport. So it was awesome of him. And at the end, he knew that this is one card I was looking for, because I have almost all the Brooks Robinson cards, and this one I just didn't have because it's just a rare high number, a tough high number to find. And I know that Pastor Craig had a couple of them there, and you know, I was looking in the show. I really didn't find a good one that I wanted, and Rick ended up mailing me this one. So I just want to thank Rick for that. Thank you, Rick. Now I've got a Brooks Robinson card that I didn't have, and that goes along with the Orioles and along with Stephen, and Oriole fans and Ripken fans. So anyway, guys, that's about it for me on this one. I just want to get your thoughts. What do you think are the top 5 football pre-war cards? And I will throw in these 2 as probably the top 2. And for me, I'd have to go with the Beecher as number 1, because it is the first card, and it's really the one that most people recognize, the most iconic. Number 2's got to be the anonymous, the rarest, the toughest card to find, and a star back in the 1800s. And you know, the problem with this card is people just don't know it. You know, they just don't know what it is, and really have never seen one, or never seen one in person, or even at shows. So I got to go with that one as the rarest, the toughest, and you know, what they call, you know, if you know, you know. We'll leave it at that. I would say number 3 is the Bronco Nagurski. I think that one's got to be up there, you know, right up there with those, with these 2 cards. And then I'll throw in the Nuke Rockne. And in the 5th one, there's just a lot of good ones out there. So I'll leave that open. But if you guys want to go ahead and leave your at least top 3, top 5 pre-war football cards, in your opinion, I just gave you mine. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Have an awesome day. And I'll catch you on the next one. It's Orlando from A Collector's Dream. Thanks for watching.